Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, a very, very slow day. Seriously, I did say it yesterday, Bitcoin goes on everybody's nerves at the moment. I read it in the Telegram group, in the Discord group, when I'm lurking in the chat rooms. A lot of people are bored, and it is, it is unfortunately that situation, but that belongs to a market as well. So it's not always action. You also have that slow, sometimes that slow, boring sideways movement. I did share it earlier today that we're basically at nearly an all-time low in terms of volatility on the daily chart. There's an indicator, the volatility ratio. It just gives an indication where we are, and things are really slow. I think taking the bigger picture into account, I think we are going to have a very, very profitable 1 or 2 years. When exactly it's going to continue, I don't know, but it's already been very profitable. So I think this is going to continue. I mean, it has obviously basically Bitcoin price doubled since November. Of course, it has retraced since then again, but it's already been very profitable since the end of 22. And I think that's going to continue. Okay, we will have some distortions maybe in between. I still can't tell you for sure that we won't get another bear market low, but I think the low is in. I did say that before. I think the low is in. I may change my view if we drop below 22K, but for now, I think the low is in. What I think we might get, and that is obviously something that would be super annoying, might get obviously in terms of capitulation, you can get capitulation over price, or you can get it over time when everybody's seriously so bought out and nobody believes anymore in the price to jump. I mean, that is a possibility, but still, I think it will be a very profitable couple of years ahead of us in the crypto world. And my sort of bull market target for Bitcoin is still sort of the 125 to 150K, but I can't exactly tell you when that will be. Bear in mind, next year, already wanted to say next week, no, next year, we are going to, we have the next halving. Yeah, so that's something to look forward to. And typically prices start to rise ahead of the halving. And I mean, we've seen that, right? We've seen that. And let's see how that continues. But just sort of to frame it, I think we have a very profitable couple of years ahead of us. It will be, I think, interesting. But bear in mind, the situation in the crypto world isn't easy. Everybody wants to trade the next new thing, the next big thing. You have a new hype every week, but we cannot deny that a lot of altcoin charts are dying. I often see it in the requests. A lot of people requesting charts that are just extremely bad. They are pointing to new all-time lows, and I guess that's just the situation out there. I think the charts we cover, many of them are good. But we also cover some which are not so good, which are just requested by members, and not only by members, but by the community. So I'm just saying, like the graph, I mean, that chart is rubbish. It's still, there are still some bullish setups there, but long-term, not good. Even Alchemy Pay, I don't like. There are charts, or here ICP, Arbitrum, that I stopped covering because it's basically unreliable now. And, most altcoin charts, and I'm not specifically suggesting the ones I've just mentioned, but most altcoin charts are dying. Some have died last year. It's the same thing all over again. You have a lot of altcoins there. Be careful. Don't put too many funds in your altcoin pocket, I think. For trading, yes. For hodling, be extremely careful. A lot of people will lose money. And be careful to chase the latest hype. But if you have a solid portfolio, and then I think, the next couple of years will be good for you. And in terms of diversification, I wanted to say some words about that as well. In terms of and that's only my opinion, right? I mean, you can do with your portfolio what you like, but I've learned over the years, that a lot of the altcoins are just trash. The project could be good, but the charts could just be trash, and eventually, you will see charts being delisted and so on. And they are good and they work, as long as they are tradable and as long as they hold certain support levels and so on. But if they break, you need to learn to let them go. one recent example was optimism. I mean, that's turned into an unreliable diagonal now at best, but at worst it will make new lows. So that's just, Elliott Wave tells us when we need to let the chart go, really. And diversification is only good if you diversify among quality assets. Okay, so just wanted to highlight that. But overall, the situation on the Bitcoin chart hasn't really changed. We're still looking here at a 1-2 setup. It just hasn't changed. Another scenario that I'm observing, by the way, and that's just something that I looked at last week. I played around with it a little bit more. It doesn't make a difference really short term, and it needs an adjustment on the weekly chart as well. But we don't need to talk about that today. But what I wanted to highlight is that what I have labeled here as a wave 1 and a wave 2 could simply be an AB. So A wave, and I highlight that in yellow. A wave, yeah. B wave down would be an explanation why that was so short time-wise, because B waves are so diverse. And this could be a C wave to the upside. And that could seriously go high. Yeah. I'm considering that. And then here, obviously, the 1-2 setup in the C wave, so that we don't have a third wave but a C wave. So that would still, that could be part of a diagonal. But we won't really know until we have that rally complete. But that's another possibility. It doesn't really make any difference short term, but it could indicate if this is a C wave. Yeah, well, that is where the difference would be. If this is a C wave, and we place, for example, that wave 1, well, no, it could actually stay there, or we might place it here. But that would mean that the subwave structures would be ABCs. If it could become an ending diagonal, and that would be a warning that we could really have a rocky road ahead of us. And it wouldn't be much fun to trade Bitcoin, over the next few weeks and months. And it will just be difficult on the way up. Yeah, it will still go up, but it will be very, very painful. It would not be classical third wave material. So I just want to highlight that, and maybe I leave them on the chart for now. No, I take them off. But I will explain that in more detail if I see that as a more and more likely option. It really depends on what we do when we start to move up. Do we really get a third of a third rally, which would be very bullish, or is it going to be a bit painful? Yeah, but on the short, but yeah, so that's still to be determined. That story is still being written. But overall, as long as we're holding 22K, we should be good for further upside. In the very short term, nothing changed. As long as we're holding below 27.7K, I expect this wave 2 to the downside to continue, and expect it to make a new low here in an ending diagonal. We are now touching that trend channel top. It could sell off from here. That would send us down most likely in the third wave, maybe to around, well, that could actually send us down quite quickly to around 25.3K, but possibly will bounce off the channel support once more in a 4 and a 5. If we break above the trend line, that could unlock prices all the way up to 27.7K. And if we attack that level and break it, then we have a chance to make that higher wave 4 I talked about in the previous video, or a higher B wave. So yeah, there are a few options, but as long as we stay below 27.7K, the current focus is here on the downside. Okay, it's above that pivot point that we can consider other options, possibly bullish, but most likely just extended corrections. All right, nothing new from that point of view, really, but just a few comments around the state of the crypto world in general. So I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.